Diablo 4 is only a week away, and I am extremely excited for its release, guys. This video is gonna cover my top 5 reasons why I'm very excited for Diablo 4. The first thing on the list, guys, has to be the attention to detail and the overall world design for Diablo 4. From the first hour you're thrown into the game, I already couldn't help but stop and just admire how detailed everything was in the world in Diablo 4. Every area that I went through with my time in the server slam for the game, everything felt very handcrafted, and it seemed like Blizzard really took their time to put love and care into the environments, and it really does show. Environments were just sprawling with life, whether it was looking at NPCs, talking to them, interacting, seeing other players on the map, fighting a huge variety of different enemies, and just pretty much everything was meticulously detailed all the way down to just clothing, gear, and just even the character customization in the game seemed like it's all up to par with what you want for probably a modern era game. I'm just very excited to see what people create with their characters and the builds for the game. I just think that the overall design and very dark and bleak tone that Diablo 4 is going for makes total sense with the story for the game, and I'm all for it. All right, guys. Second thing on the list has to be the combat. This is pretty much a given if you have played all of the Diablo games till up to date, obviously with Diablo 3, and then now with obviously Diablo 4 on the brink of release. If you obviously got a chance to play the beta, you already know what I'm going to say about the combat. The combat in this game slaps, bro. It's just a great culmination of what made everything good, from all the way from the first game to the second game to the third game. Obviously Diablo 3 being the closest in feel for the game, in the flow and fluidity in the combat, especially with retaining the dodge roll, which was introduced from the third game. The best way to describe the combat in this game is that it just feels extremely fluid. It's fast-paced, frantic. It's some of the best ARPG combat that I've ever played, and like to date, honestly. It's crazy that the game's not even fully released, but what I played in the server slam and my time with the game from that whole experience, I was blown away. I am very excited to see how deep the combat goes and the skill tree for the game and like the abilities and everything for each character class. It's going to be insane what people are going to be able to pull off in this game, and I am just very, very hyped, honestly. All right, guys, moving on to the third one is going to be DLC and Battle Pass. I know what y'all are probably thinking. Modern gaming, it is what it is. This is the era we live in with live service games. It's basically all up to the developer and the publisher these days. If they make the right choices, the live service aspects will be great and the community will thrive for years. The game and just the support in general for the game will be retained. Like, that's just how you make a good live service game. You listen to the fans, you listen to good feedback from the community, and you try to, do your own thing with it too, and then kind of change it around, but like, obviously keep it balanced with everything and make the changes correctly. Like, you can't take every single opinion into account. Also, there's been a couple of games recently that I won't name that have made extremely anti-consumer choices, and like, it's just been the death of pretty much games due to that. So I hope obviously Blizzard's learned from their mistakes with Diablo Immortal, which they basically already stated this game is going to be nothing like that. In terms of DLC and content, pretty much everything is cosmetic. There is a currency in the game, I believe, a premium currency, which is kind of interesting to see how that's going to work out. I'm personally never a person that buys any type of fucking premium currency, but I mean, hey, if you want to, do that to your heart's content, by all means do it. But I think I'm more excited towards the spectrum that there's going to be just amazing content flow for this game. With how good the base game feels from what I played, I am just super, super excited to see where Blizzard takes the game. I hope you guys feel the same way too. Let me know in the comments what you're most afraid of for the DLC, Battle Pass, I guess, like long term. I guess we'll see when the game releases and when time comes. All right. Number 4 on the list, guys, is going to be Endgame Activities. Blizzard has confirmed a couple of things for endgame content in Diablo 4. Some of those things are nightmare dungeons. Basically, they're these dungeons that you go to that have increased loot and difficulty by adding new enemies, modifiers, objectives, and then probably other things too as well that Blizzard hasn't revealed. Obviously, what do you get? Better loot, better rewards. I think that's super dope that they're implementing like these difficult, more extreme dungeons for the hardcore players that want to do them. I'm a sucker for these type of things in games. I am definitely a hardcore gamer in terms of FPS games and just games in general. I love Souls-like games. I love pretty much everything like that. So I'm very excited that Diablo's going that route. Also giving you as a choice. So it's not like just you're forced to do these dungeons. It's all choice, all player choice. So that's definitely cool to see. All right, next thing is Hell Tides. So what are Hell Tides? They're basically heightened enemy difficulty in certain regions on the map with different difficulty tiers. I'm assuming the enemies you kill in Hell Tides, what's basically confirmed is that they drop shards, which are used, I think, to open these special Hell Tide cases or chests. I'm assuming, obviously, another thing for good loot and gear. Just another thing, basically, that you can do that's going to give you more content for the game. All right, moving on to the next one, guys, is Whispers of the Dead. So what that is basically bounties given to you by an NPC in the world in Diablo with randomized objectives. They haven't really elaborated much on that, I feel like, but from what I've researched and found is basically it's randomized events that you get basically as objectives, and it gives you tasks to do, and obviously another thing to get rewards or gear, I'm assuming. The thing is, what I'm most curious about is how dynamic or random the events will be, and like how many different ones you can kind of generate or get from that NPC. I guess that'll be very interesting to see on game release, but for now, we don't know too much about it. All right, last but not least, guys, is going to be Fields of Hatred, which is basically the PvP zones for Diablo 4. This is nothing new for most Diablo games. There's always been PvP, but I'm assuming this is going to be an evolution of PvP, hopefully. It's basically areas where you can do PvP and fight with other players, experiment with different builds, go at it. It's, I'm assuming, also PvE as well with enemies in the environment at the same time. These are always fun, man. I feel like they can get a little goofy depending on gear balancing, but I'm assuming Blizzard's gonna be on top of their game balancing that and getting PvP balanced just right, obviously after release and for probably a while, I'm assuming, because there's just too many variables for the game to balance, right? Hopefully they've done their best for day one. We'll see, I guess, on release. All right, guys. The last thing, number 5 on the list, will be the story for the game. The story for Diablo 4 starts off with one of the most badass cutscenes I've ever seen in a game. Diablo 4 has always had banger cutscenes, I feel like, throughout the years, but Diablo 4 had such a good opening cutscene, man. My eyes were glued to the screen watching that shit, and it was just so badass, man. The introduction to the main antagonist for this game, which is a demon called Lilith, was so dope, man. Like, Diablo 4 is going for a very dark tone, as usual for most of the Diablo games. The voice acting was very good in my opinion. Everything was hitting on all the right spots for like the cutscenes, and what's been revealed for the story so far is seeming like I'm definitely going to enjoy it. There is always these subtleties to the story, especially when I was playing through Diablo 2 recently, with how good the cinematic work for the cutscenes are. Like, I feel like not enough credits given to Blizzard and the writing team for the dialogue and like how they've handled their cinematic cutscenes, but man, they just know how to do cinematic cutscenes. I feel like they're probably one of the best in the game, besides, I don't know, like Square Enix back in the day with Final Fantasy. But it's going to be very interesting to see where the story goes, guys, in Diablo 4. I am just super stoked for the game, and I hope you guys are too. This is one of the biggest releases for 2023. In my opinion, I just hope it goes smooth for Blizzard after all of the issues and horrible shit that like they've gone through, honestly, in the past couple of years. They need this game to succeed. Like, there's nothing else besides succeeding with this game, because if they do anything wrong where the fan base or players are just left with a bad taste in their mouth, it might be hard recovering from this. But obviously, best wishes to Blizzard. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like on it, because it helps me in the algorithm and helps me to get seen by everybody. The primary thing I want is to talk to you guys in the comments. Make sure you guys comment what you're most hyped for the game and why down below in the comments, because I want to talk to you about pretty much everything related to Diablo 4 with the release being so close. It's hopefully going to be one of the best ARPGs ever made. I'm very optimistic, guys. But as usual, I'll catch y'all on the next one, and I'll see y'all on launch day for Diablo 4. Take care of yourselves. Peace.